Personally, I don't think y'all gonna be the ones to end the loneliness pandemic. The epidemic, excuse me, because epidemic means it's localized to one area. Ooh, differentiate that. It'll probably be y'all sons because kids got good ass sense. They do. They sure do, don't they? So I think they will take note and move accordingly because I don't give a fuck what you tell yourself. The presence of a woman, yeah, lonely as fuck, I bet.
So I'm not really sure what you said. I, it's a little all over the place. But let's try to piecemeal this one. That the next generation are going to the ones that solve the loneliness epidemic, um, not the pandemic epidemic. Probably not. Right? I think when you look at any type of studies, you look at any type of data, the younger generation reporting more loneliness, less coupling, they're less desirous of marriage, they're less desirous of long term relationships. They're not solving it. They're simply the cracks have formed and they're simply widening the gap. That's what's happening, right? It's going to be on everyone, right, that is lonely to solve that sort of pandemic. And I think it's also important to note that the origins of that term was coined wasn't by men coming online and saying that there's a loneliness pandemic. Men were saying, yeah, they're reporting high levels of loneliness. I think if you did a longitudinal study over 100 years, you'd see that that number was probably has risen, but not by a significant margin where we'd say all of a sudden it's a pandemic. No, men have always been lonely or had to grapple with the idea of being lonely, of not being able to mate, to find someone to be with long term, to find a woman that's interested in them. There's always been a subset of men that do not pass on their genes. In fact, the amount of men that actually pass on genes is startlingly low when you consider how many men are on the planet. That's just always been the case. Men have had to grapple with being lonely, right? It's like this: a woman's being lonely in the sense of just desires for a partner. She could get a man's attention and have him in her bed, right? We're just talking in terms of physical loneliness, right? You could have that happen whenever you want. Even an average looking woman can have a man in her, in her arms in no time flat. So when she has to grapple with being lonely, she's grappling with the idea that I can still get the attention. Men grapple with the loneliness, knowing that despite their best efforts, they may not still get the attention. It's still not something that's easily or ubiquitous or constantly there for them. So that's a big difference for us. So before we do a deeper dive into this one, can you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads? Still doing two a day, and let's just get right back into this.
As you should be. Personally, I don't think y'all gonna be the ones to end the loneliness pandemic. The epidemic, excuse me, because epidemic means it's localized to one area. Ooh, differentiate that. It'll probably be y'all sons because kids got good ass sense.
Have we seen the kids? like, right? Like, have you seen the kids? Have you seen what they do online? I think this is one of those things where maybe just make something to put it out there for the sake of putting it out there, and it sounds good in your head, but reality that these things don't really, it's not really panning out like this.
They do. They sure do,
You
don't
know,
they? So I think they will take note and move accordingly.
again, like we mentioned before, higher rates of loneliness, marriage rates in decline. Um, you see enough the young generation coming on here, and flat out, and for the men, right? Because that's what I sometimes what I see. Men come out here saying, "Why would I sign up for that?" After hearing, because we grew up millennials. We were, again, of course, we were inundated with the "I don't want no scrubs," right? That type of music, that type of genre, that type of male bashing, that male hate. Um, these younger kids, they're flooded with it. It's over their head from jump. The internet is part of their lives. It has never not been part of their lives. They haven't known a moment of peace when there's no internet. They're constantly showered with this. Their response in general, in a growing, in a slowly growing majority for men, is just saying no. Especially when you have this women's liberation and access to female bodies isn't scarce. So you're still getting to have your fun with women. You're still getting the physical intimacy, the physical connection. But they're also saying, why would I want to marry you? Why would I want to get in a relationship? Because I see what's out there. I see that you're just like us. I see that we have so much content now where women talking about their own rosters. That you're supposed to build a roster. They use guys for this, this, and this. Guys aren't, again, what we say on the channel over and over again, guys aren't dumb. Younger generation, the newer guys, they're not dumb either. They're seeing that and they're moving accordingly. Like she's saying, but not in the sense of they're going to solve the loneliness, pandemic. The men have solved that crisis a long time ago. It's just like the answer is, yeah, it's going to happen.
Because I don't give a fuck what you tell yourself. The presence of a woman, yeah.
So that last part is one I want to focus on for the last part of the video. Yes, the presence of a woman is incredible, right? A good woman will be this muse-like figure to you, will inspire you to higher heights. But you have to be a good woman. We have in our culture this almost default position that all women are good and blameless. That the problem in failed relationship is always on the man, and the fact is that's just not true, right? You're seeing more content of women come and saying you know my husband was perfect and I left him, right? Or saying you don't really need a reason to leave that man, just do it because you're not happy. Or flat out women purporting that there's nothing more important than their happiness in any type of relationship, because how could they have a happy home if they're miserable? It's all stemming from, in that case, what she's saying is all stemming from her and the woman's happiness. She has to be happy first, therefore everyone else can know peace. So the odd thing is this default narrative, that women are, every single woman is good for every single man, or every single man would be blessed to have every single woman in his life. There's no demarcation. Women are not hypercritical about themselves or their quality, like men often have to be. You can easily demarcate and say this is a good man, this is a bad woman. So this is a good man, this is a bad man. Women, no, you sort of do this on your future potential, where you might be. You're a good woman not because you do bad things today, but because you'll plan on doing good later. Versus men is like, all right, what have you done lately? What are your accolades? What have you produced? This is what I'm going to use to determine your worthiness of being good or bad. And the fact is just not true. The fact is, if women, the presence of women was so enriching, so intoxicating, so amazing, then there wouldn't be a loneliness pandemic on either side. We'd be clawing and clamoring to be together, but that's really not the case. So if you think I missed something, let me know that in the comments. Um, if you see videos on your screen right now, go ahead and give it a look, give it a tap, see what you think about those as well. And of course, you listen to sound of my voice right now. If you haven't subscribed, you are just killing me. Come on, what are we doing? Listen, I'll see you guys on the next one.